Nobody talks about this, but the most financially secure person in your building probably earns less than you do. Think about that for a second. Not slightly less, possibly half of what you bring home every month. And yet they sleep better than you. They have more saved than you. They have more real options than you. And here's the part that should genuinely make you stop and think. Their apartment doesn't look like sacrifice. It doesn't look like they gave anything up. It just looks intentional. I've been studying financial behavior for a long time, and the single most consistent pattern I've found has nothing to do with income, market timing, or which asset class is trending this quarter. It has everything to do with a hidden relationship that exists between the things filling your home and the money disappearing from your account. Most people live their entire working lives completely blind to it. And by the end of this video, you won't be one of them. But I'm not going to hand you the conclusion right now, because if I do, you'll nod, you'll feel like you understood it, and you'll move on without it actually changing anything. What I want to do instead is walk you through it the way it actually clicks, slowly, with real numbers, real patterns, and real examples that make it land. The shift happens near the end, and it's worth waiting for. Let me start with 2 apartments. Same city, same neighborhood, similar rent. The first belongs to someone earning $95,000 a year. Walk in, and here's what you see. A 75-inch television on the wall, a leather sectional that cost $4,000, a kitchen stacked with appliances still sealed in their original boxes, closets so full that clothes with price tags still attached get buried and forgotten, and a spare bedroom that stopped being a bedroom years ago. It's storage now. This person checks their bank balance and feels a familiar tightening in their chest. 2 missed paychecks and the whole structure collapses. The second apartment belongs to someone earning $52,000. Walk in, and the first thing you notice is space. A modest couch, a reasonably sized television, a kitchen with exactly the tools that actually get used, a closet with clothes that actually get worn. The spare bedroom is still a bedroom. This person checks their bank balance with calm, quiet confidence. They have 18 months of living expenses saved. They invest 20% of every paycheck, consistently, automatically, without drama. Same neighborhood. The person earning nearly half as much has close to 10 times the financial security. This is not a story about income. It never was. It's a story about something most financial content refuses to say plainly, because plain doesn't always get attention. The first person isn't reckless. They don't gamble. They don't have destructive habits in any obvious sense. They simply accumulated a lifestyle that now requires every single dollar they earn just to maintain. They're not spending money. Their lifestyle is spending it for them, automatically, every month, whether they're paying attention or not. The second person figured something out that changed the entire equation. They learned that owning less doesn't mean living worse. It means living on purpose. And living on purpose creates a gap between what you earn and what you spend, a margin that most high earners never experience because they never stop to build it. I'm going to walk you through the specific rules that create that margin. And I want to be direct with you. These are not motivational ideas. They're behavioral principles with real financial consequences, and I'll give you the numbers to back every single one. But first, there's one concept you need to understand before anything else makes sense. It will permanently change how you think about every purchase you make from this point forward. Everything you own costs you money twice. The first cost is obvious. It's the number on the receipt, the amount that leaves your account on the day you buy something. You already know about that one. The second cost is the one almost nobody calculates, and in many cases, it's larger than the first. That second cost is built from 4 components that quietly drain your finances for as long as you hold on to the item. The first is storage. Physical space in your home isn't free. In most urban areas, space costs somewhere between $30 and $50 per square foot annually when you factor it into your rent or mortgage. A treadmill with proper clearance takes up roughly 20 square feet. That's between $600 and $1,000 per year in implicit rent you're paying to store a piece of exercise equipment that, if you're being honest, mostly holds laundry. The second is maintenance. That boat sitting in someone's driveway isn't just sitting there for free. It needs winterization, cleaning, registration, insurance, and periodic repairs. A widely used industry estimate puts annual ownership costs at roughly 10% of a boat's purchase value. A $30,000 boat costs approximately $3,000 per year to own, before it ever touches water. The third is mental energy. This one is harder to quantify but well documented. Research on visual clutter consistently shows that it raises cortisol levels and measurably reduces the brain's capacity to focus. Every object you own occupies a small slice of your attention around the clock. It needs to be cleaned, organized, maintained, worried about, and eventually dealt with. Your possessions are running in the background of your mind, whether you're aware of it or not. The fourth is opportunity cost. And this is the one with the sharpest edge. Every dollar locked up in a possession is a dollar that isn't compounding. A $15,000 home gym setup sitting largely unused isn't just $15,000 spent. Based on long-term historical averages of broad market index funds, that same amount invested and left alone for 15 years could reasonably grow to somewhere in the range of $50,000 or more. You didn't just buy equipment. You bought equipment instead of the future it could have built. When you add those four costs together, many of the things you own cost more to keep than they ever cost to buy. The purchase price is the entry fee. The ongoing cost is the subscription you forgot you signed up for. Now that you understand what ownership actually costs, the rules that follow will make immediate sense. And I want you to notice something as I go through them. None of these require a higher income, not a single one. Before any purchase, calculate the cost per use. Take the total price. Estimate honestly, not optimistically, how many times you'll realistically use it over the next year. Divide. That number is the only truthful measure of whether something is worth buying. A $200 jacket worn twice costs $100 per wear. A $400 jacket worn 200 times costs $2 per wear. The more expensive item is, in any real sense, the cheaper one. A $300 kitchen gadget used 4 times a year costs $75 per use. A $2,000 mattress used every single night for 10 years costs roughly 55 cents per use and directly affects your health and energy every day. The math cuts through marketing, emotion, and the quiet pressure to keep up with everyone around you. Use it every time. Now go home and apply the replacement test to what you already own. Walk through every room and ask one honest question about each item. If this disappeared today, would I actually spend money to replace it? Not could you. Would you? For most things in most homes, the answer is no. That fondue set, that bread maker, those clothes buried under other clothes. They exist through inertia, not intention. Inertia is one of the most expensive financial habits there is. Everything you would not replace has a negative value. It costs you space, attention, and mental energy while returning nothing. Removing it isn't loss. It's recovery. Stop upgrading things that still work. The average person replaces their phone every 2 to 3 years, while the previous one functions perfectly. Over 30 years, that pattern alone cost between $30,000 and $50,000. Applied across every category where upgrade culture operates, cars, furniture, appliances, wardrobe, the lifetime figure easily exceeds $200,000 spent on solving problems that didn't exist. An item is broken when it cannot perform its function. Boredom is not a malfunction. A newer model existing is not a malfunction. Marketing has simply convinced you otherwise. Engineer your environment so that saving is automatic and spending requires effort. Remove stored card details from retail sites. Delete the shopping apps. Impose a 24-hour waiting rule on every non-essential purchase. Research on consumer behavior consistently shows that the majority of purchase impulses dissolve within a day, if not acted on immediately. Meanwhile, set up automatic transfers to savings on payday so the money moves before you see it. You are not relying on willpower here. Willpower depletes by evening. Systems don't. Before any major purchase, calculate the full ecosystem cost, not just the item, but everything it pulls in behind it. A boat needs a trailer, insurance, storage, winterization, and the right vehicle to tow it. What looks like a $5,000 decision is often a $10,000 reality once you account for everything connected to it. And understand that eliminating one major possession frequently eliminates an entire category of recurring expense along with it. Rent or borrow before you commit to ownership. Most purchases get used intensively for a short period and then rarely again. Test whether your enthusiasm is genuine before it becomes permanent. The garages and storage units of the world are filled with dusty evidence of interests people were certain would last. Skiing phases, photography phases, home recording phases. Minimalists don't become museums of past enthusiasm. They explore first and invest only when the interest proves real. Define what enough looks like before your income has a chance to define it for you. This is the trap that quietly catches high earners and almost never gets discussed. Without a fixed definition of enough, every income increase simply raises the ceiling on spending. Research has consistently shown that people earning $300,000 report nearly identical financial stress to people earning $80,000 because expectations expanded in lockstep with income. Decide in advance what kind of home genuinely meets your needs. What transportation is actually adequate? What level of material comfort represents real satisfaction rather than momentary relief? Write it down. The person who sets enough at $60,000 of annual spending and then earns $150,000 has $90,000 per year flowing directly toward financial freedom. The person earning the same amount but constantly redefining enough upward may be building almost nothing. And finally, measure your wealth by what you can choose, not what you can show. Can you leave a job that's damaging your health? Can you take 6 months away from work to handle a family emergency? Can you start something new without a guaranteed income? Can you say no to an opportunity that pays well but costs you something you're not willing to trade? Those options are real wealth. They are only available to people who built genuine margin between what they earn and what they need. The person earning $200,000 but spending $195,000 has almost no freedom. The person earning $80,000 but spending $45,000 has an extraordinary amount of it. Every purchase you make is not just an exchange of money for an object. It is a trade of optionality for possession. Sometimes that trade is worth it. More often than most people honestly admit, it isn't. Here is what ties all of this together, and this is the part I want you to carry with you after this video ends. The relationship between owning less and building more isn't one-directional. It runs both ways. When your savings are growing and your financial foundation is solid, the psychological pressure to fill your space with things you don't need naturally begins to fade. Most overconsumption is driven by insecurity. Spending provides temporary emotional relief when financial instability is the underlying feeling. Build real financial strength, and the compulsion to spend often dissolves without effort. Less spending creates more security. More security reduces the drive to spend. Reduced spending accelerates saving further. That cycle compounds quietly and consistently, and it is available to you regardless of what you currently earn. The 2 apartments at the beginning of this video were never really about income. They were about a choice. Whether you own your possessions or whether your possessions own you. The math strongly favors the first option. So does everything else. If this shifted something for you, share it with someone in your life who needs to hear it. Not everyone will come across this on their own, and the people closest to you are worth the conversation. Leave a comment below and tell me which of these rules hit closest to home. I read everything. And if you're watching from outside the country, drop your location in the comments. It's always worth knowing how universal this really is. Stay intentional.